digressing. Moving on. We're still on the Canelo Kovalev topic, just for a brief segment here. We're talking about the whole intermission controversy, because that's a separate topic entirely, I feel like, from the card itself. For those who don't know, DAZN, before the fight, I think on Friday, came out and said, look, the Canelo Kovalev fight will take place after the UFC event. Obviously, we went through Saturday, and all the Golden Boy events or fights started ending pretty early, it seems, and then the Ryan Garcia fights ends in the first round, and we have an hour and a half of kill time for the DAZN telecast. Now, for those in attendance, they were lucky enough because of this little piece of news. Thank you, Dana White. Even though this is a huge rant from Dana White, we did get this little tidbit that MGM called Dana White, not that Friday when they announced, by the way, that they were going to do this whole sort of what's the term? Staggered. Thank you. Staggered event here. They waited till the co-main event of the UFC card to call up Dana White and say, hey, can we be allowed to show the UFC main event at the MGM Grand? Dana White said, of course. And I'm assuming he also said with the check that you're going to mail to me, right, guys? And they said yes. And so the MGM Grand did show the Nate Diaz-Jorge Masvidal fight live for the people in attendance on the Jumbotron. That's cool. Those were watching on DAZN, though, and those are their only hardcore boxing fans that weren't watching the MMA card, aka the only people that are upset about this whole intermission. Because those that are crossover fans like me, we don't care. But the hardcore only boxing fans that do care about this intermission, I understand why they're upset. You had an hour and a half of kill time, and you had really nothing to kill it with. You didn't put on other fights that were early on in the telecast, which you should have done. You didn't really have any planned, in my opinion, really smart promotion or anything of the sort for your consumers. You had Meta World Peace, a.k.a. Ron Artest, up there telling you the consumers to buy the pay-per-view when it's DAZN. That was hilarious. And it's just the same promo packages, the same backstage interviews they were seeing on loop, and that for an hour and a half. That was poor planning. I do think that the idea of staggering events like this to not have main events of competing combat sports on at the same time, especially if they're big-time events, that's smart. That's just good, A, business, and B, good for the consumers overall. However, you have to add a sort of plan to fill up that time, and clearly Golden Boy didn't. And the easiest thing they should have done was just start their card later. Just move the card. I know that maybe would have been hard for maybe the Sky telecast, but that probably shouldn't have been, honestly. They shouldn't have started at 6. They should have started at 7, and this wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah, I've seen a whole, from certain quarters, it was the obvious things that people were going to say from the obvious people, but a lot of people were annoyed with this. Mm-hmm. And I understand it, but the same people that are saying, why is Canelo going up against the UFC, the big card, and why are they doing this? With the same people that say, why are we waiting for the fucking fight to start? It's like, I think the intention was to try and do the right thing, but like you said, they just didn't have anything really to fill the gap. Is from what I've made. Obviously, I haven't got the Zones feed. We had Sky. There was a lot of, at least Sky had stuff to fall back on as far as Katie Taylor fought last night as well, and they could sort of show a bit of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I can, like I say, I can understand the consumer, because it was like, well, you can wait because we're hoping to get some new subscribers coming in, but you guys that have already paid and been here from the start, maybe, you're just gonna have to wait.